I never thought I'd end up sleeping in a basement, in the house I helped pay for. But I didn't think my son would ever look at me like I was a burden either. It started after my husband Paul passed. 43 years of marriage, gone in a hospital room that smelled like rubbing alcohol and stale hope. He died with my hand in his. I whispered, "Don't worry, I'll take care of our boy." That boy was 35, married, but in my heart, always 5 years old and afraid of thunderstorms. After the funeral, everything felt silent. Too silent. The kind of silence that seeps into your bones and makes your hands shake when you pick up a coffee mug. Josh came to visit once after Paul's passing. Just once. But that's all it took. "Mom," he said, "Megan and I are trying to buy a house, but we're short. Just by a bit. We really want this one. It's perfect. Safe neighborhood, great schools." He didn't have to finish. Of course I offered. I had savings, Paul's pension, and the life insurance payout. $150,000. I told myself it wasn't charity. It was investment. In their future, in our family. Josh hugged me. Megan said, "You'll always have a home with us, Linda. We mean that." And for a second, I believed her. We moved in together that fall. A brand new 2-story home in a quiet neighborhood. White trim, flower beds, porch swing. It looked like something from a Christmas movie. My room? Downstairs. Technically the guest room. No closet. Twin bed. Half bathroom. No shower. But I didn't complain. Not once. I brought with me one small suitcase. A photo of Paul. And a ceramic bowl Josh had made in 4th grade art class. It was cracked, but I still used it for my keys. Felt like grounding myself. The first week was lovely. Josh made me coffee every morning. Megan helped me set up the Wi-Fi and showed me how to use their fancy digital thermostat. We even had dinner together twice. I thought maybe this will work. Maybe we can really live like a family again. Not just holidays and awkward birthday calls, but laughter in the hallway. Shared leftovers in the fridge. The sound of someone walking upstairs. But small things started to change. The thermostat suddenly reset to 62 degrees. All the time. The fridge upstairs had a note taped on it, "Meal prep only, thanks." They bought a mini fridge and put it in the garage. For me. I smiled. Said thank you. Put my yogurt in it. Tried not to cry. I offered to help with laundry. Megan said, "Oh, no need. We've got a system." Then later I overheard her telling a friend on the phone. "It's like having a polite ghost in the house. She just hovers." I sat on the basement bed that night, holding the photo of Paul, and whispered, "I think I messed up." By week 3, Josh barely looked at me. He left early, came back late. The only time we spoke was when I asked if I could put a small shelf in the laundry room. He sighed and said, "Let's not clutter things, Mom." Clutter. That's what I was. A box left open. An extra spoon in the drawer. I tried to tell myself it was stress. They were newlyweds. They had dreams. Maybe I was the one intruding. But then I heard it. Late one night. Josh and Megan talking in the kitchen. I wasn't snooping. I was getting a glass of water. And I heard her say, "She's not leaving unless we make her want to." Then Josh replied, "She'll give up her share if we make it clear she's not wanted." I stood there, stone still. Like if I didn't breathe, none of it would be true. That night I didn't sleep. I stared at the ceiling, counted the pipes, listened to the distant hum of their TV upstairs, and I made a decision. I would not beg. I would not cry. I would not let them see me break. But I would be ready. So I reached under the bed and pulled out the manila folder I'd never unpacked. Inside, the co-ownership agreement. My name. My signature. 50% of the house. They didn't know I kept a copy. They didn't think I'd ever need it. But I did. 2 days later, I made dinner. Meatloaf. Mashed potatoes. Josh's favorite. They didn't come down. Megan texted, "Already ate." Thanks. Josh didn't say a word. I sat at the table. Alone. And ate slowly. Every bite was a goodbye. To the boy who made me laugh with ketchup on his nose. To the family I thought I still had. to the idea that unconditional love was always returned. The next morning, I was folding towels when Megan came downstairs. She cleared her throat. Linda, we think it's time you start looking for something a little more permanent. Your own space. For your comfort. A second later, Josh walked in, sipped his coffee, didn't even look at me. We don't have space for you anymore, Mom, he said, like he was asking me to pass the salt. I looked at them, nodded, wiped my hands on the towel, and said, okay, I'll be out by tonight. No tears, no fight, just stillness, because I already knew what they didn't. The house they lived in wasn't just theirs. It was mine too, and I had just decided to remind them of that. By the time I closed the motel door behind me that night, I felt like I'd aged 10 years. The cab driver didn't ask questions, just gave me a tight smile in the rearview mirror and carried my 2 bags like I was someone fragile. I tipped him too much. Not because I had the money, but because I needed anyone, to treat me like I mattered. The motel room smelled like bleach and disappointment. Flickering light bulb. Plastic cups wrapped in thin paper sleeves. I placed my suitcase on the chair and sat on the edge of the bed. Still, quite small. Like me. I didn't cry. Not that night. I was too exhausted, too hollow. Instead, I opened the manila folder. There it was. My name on the deed. Co-owner. Half. They thought I didn't know my rights. They thought politeness would keep me in check. They thought silence meant surrender. They were wrong. The next morning, I walked down the street to a small diner. Ordered coffee and oatmeal. Didn't eat much. But the waitress called me Han, and that was enough to make me feel human again. When I got back to the motel, I made a list. 5 copies of the deed, 1 for me, 1 for my lawyer, 1 for the bank, 1 just in case, and 1. I didn't know yet. Maybe for Josh. Maybe not. I booked the room for 3 more nights. Paid cash. Asked them not to clean. I didn't want anyone to see what little I had left. I told no one where I was. Not my church group. Not my late husband's sister. Not even Sharon, my cousin, who calls once a month just to say, thinking of you. I wanted stillness. Not sympathy. Not stories. Stillness. By Wednesday, Megan posted a photo. Smiling. Holding a mason jar of lemonade on their perfect porch. #grateful, #our home, #new beginnings. I stared at it for a long time. Like it was a postcard from a parallel life I'd just been erased from. That same day, Josh texted. Hope you're getting settled. Let us know if you need help moving anything. No apology. No explanation. Just neat detachment. Like I was a misplaced sweater. That night, I printed the foreclosure notice. Josh had taken out a $90,000 loan against the house for a business venture. He hadn't told me. Hadn't asked. The business? A marketing startup. Lasted 3 months. Now the house was in default. I didn't panic. I read. Underlined things. Made notes in the margins like I was studying for an exam called Don't Let Them Take What's Yours. Then I made a decision. I wasn't going to save them. Not this time. I had given everything I had. Money. Time. My space. My peace. I wasn't angry. I wasn't even bitter. I was just done. 2 days later, the notice went out. The lender was notified that I was no longer willing to contribute to the debt. Foreclosure proceedings would begin within 72 hours. That night I slept. Deeply. For the first time in weeks. No pacing overhead. No whispered insults through paper-thin floors. Just silence. Safe, earned silence. But silence, I learned, is not what people want when they lose control. Silence scares them. Because silence means you're thinking. Planning. Remembering. The next day, Megan posted again. Long, dramatic caption. A photo of her holding her stomach, pregnant. Looking sad on the porch. The caption read, Sometimes the people who say they love you do the most damage. Prayers appreciated. Comments flooded in. Stay strong, Mama. Family can be the worst. You're doing your best. She never mentioned me by name. She didn't have to. Everyone knew. That afternoon my phone buzzed. Josh again. Mom, did you do something with the house? We got a weird notice. I didn't answer. 2 hours later. There's a paper on the door. Call me. Then Megan. Linda, please. We're confused. Just tell us what's happening. Still. I said nothing. They wanted my reaction. They wanted emotion. But I'd given them enough. Let them sit in the dark for a while. Let them feel the weight of my absence. Later that night, I walked to a corner store. Bought a cheap bottle of wine, peanut butter, and a notebook. I opened the first page and wrote. They tried to erase me, so I started writing myself back in. The next morning, the sheriff's department called. Polite voice. Said they were confirming the date for the lockout. Friday, 10 a.m. You're not required to be there, Miss Harper, he said. I just wanted to give you the courtesy. Courtesy. Something my own child couldn't offer me. How strange, the kindness of strangers. I thanked him. Hung up. Made oatmeal in the motel microwave. Sat on the edge of the bed. And waited. Friday came fast. I didn't go to the house. Didn't want to see them stumble through it. But I imagined it. Josh opening the door in sweatpants. Megan crying. A deputy standing quietly nearby, not angry, just official. At 10:42 a.m. my phone buzzed. Voicemail. Josh's voice. Sharp. Furious. I don't know what you did, but we're out. Gone. You ruined us, Mom. I hope you're happy. I played it twice. Not because it hurt, but because I needed to remember how clean betrayal sounds when it stops pretending. At noon, Megan messaged me. Longer this time. More emotion. No hashtags. If you wanted to hurt us, congrats. We're being evicted. I just hope you sleep well tonight. You destroyed your family. I stared at those words for a long time. Your family. As if they still believed it belonged to me. As if they hadn't already thrown me out of it. I didn't reply. I closed the phone. Walked to the motel vending machine. Bought a candy bar I hadn't had since I was a girl. And ate it slowly. Alone. In peace. That night, I wrote in my notebook again. They thought kindness was weakness. They mistook silence for surrender. They thought a mother's love was unconditional, but it's not unending. Then I turned the page and wrote. Let them talk. Because the more they talked, the more people would want to know why I wasn't. And eventually, someone would ask the right question. And when they did, I would be ready. I remember the moment I stopped being their family and became their obstacle. It wasn't when they changed the thermostat, or when Megan joked to her friends that I was the basement bat. It wasn't even when they locked the upstairs fridge. No. It was when Josh walked into the kitchen, took a sip of coffee, and said with that same bored tone he used when talking about car insurance, "We don't have space for you anymore, Mom." That line didn't shatter me. It clarified me. Like someone had wiped the fog off a mirror and I could finally see things as they were. Not as I wished them to be. I had spent months shrinking myself, just to fit into their lives. I folded their towels. I watered the garden. I avoided using the good plates. I listened to podcasts on headphones so I wouldn't disturb Megan's aura. Whatever that meant. I even learned how to use their smart oven. The one that sent alerts to Josh's phone if the temperature changed too quickly. He told me once, "Mom, don't mess with it too much. It stresses me out." As if an oven could feel my grief and take it out on him. But I still smiled. Still thanked them. Still convinced myself I was lucky to be included at all. Until that morning. Josh and Megan sat me down like I was being fired from a job I never applied for. Megan crossed her legs like a therapist. Josh avoided eye contact. She did most of the talking. Polite words. Hollow sentiments. All wrapped in "we love you," but then came the line. "We don't have space for you anymore." I looked at them both. Really looked. Two adults who used to call me Mom with laughter in their voices. Now treating me like a misplaced chair. I nodded once. Just once. Then I said, "Okay. I'll be out by tonight." No tears. No begging. No "how could you?" Just clarity. They blinked. Josh even looked relieved. Like checking something off a to-do list. I packed slowly. Deliberately. My clothes. The framed photo of Paul. My notebook. The manila folder. My keys. A paperback I never finished because I was too busy trying not to be noticed. And that cracked ceramic bowl Josh made in 4th grade. I took it all. Left nothing. Not a dish. Not a towel. Not even a single strand of hair in the drain. I closed the door behind me without a sound. I didn't go far. Back to the motel. Room 214 this time. New hallway. New silence. I sat on the bed and placed the folder on the table like it was a loaded weapon. Because it was. Inside. A document they hadn't bothered to read. One I had signed with trust. But now held like armor. Co-owner. 49%. My name. Not a witness. Not a footnote. Half. The next morning, I called the bank. The man on the other end was polite, but surprised. Ms. Harper, are you aware your son has taken out a secondary mortgage on the property? I am now, I said. He's in breach. Foreclosure is imminent unless the debt is satisfied. I listened. Took notes. Asked no favors. Then I said, do what you need to do. You have my signature. 2 days later, Megan called. I didn't answer. She left a voicemail. Linda, please, if you're doing something with the house, can we at least talk? Josh is under a lot of pressure. The baby's coming. Just call me. I stared at my phone, then powered it off. I wasn't being cruel. I was choosing peace. For the first time in years. I wasn't in fight or flight. I was just still. That night, I sat by the motel window with a cup of instant coffee, watched the parking lot lights flicker, heard the soft clink of ice from someone's cooler, and thought, how strange, that the woman who gave up everything was now the one with the power to take it all back. Not out of revenge, but out of necessity. Because if you teach people that your love has no boundaries, they'll test it, until it's unrecognizable. The foreclosure notice went out that Friday. I didn't go to the house. Didn't need to. But I saw the panic unfold. Megan posted in the neighborhood Facebook group. Urgent. Anyone know good foreclosure lawyers? We're being scammed. The irony almost made me laugh. She never mentioned my name. But everyone knew. You could see it in the comments. People asking, wait, wasn't that her mom's house too? One woman even wrote, I thought they bought that place with family money. Megan never answered directly. Just danced around it. Like a politician on ice. That weekend, I received a text from a number I didn't recognize. Ms. Harper, my name is Doreen. I work with the City Housing Board. I saw some online posts. Just wanted to hear your side. I agreed to meet her. We sat in the motel lobby. Plastic chairs. Lukewarm coffee. Her pen stayed in her purse. She didn't ask for proof. Didn't press. Just listened. When I finished, she handed me a business card. If you need help finding permanent housing, I have strings I can pull. It was the first kindness I'd felt in weeks. But kindness is a threat to manipulators. And sure enough, Josh showed up the next day. No warning. No can we talk. Just knocked on the motel door around 3 p.m. Mom, it's me. I looked through the peephole. He looked tired. Like someone who hadn't slept since the notice went out. Against my better judgment, I opened the door 2 inches. 5 minutes, I said. He nodded. We sat at the tiny motel table. The silence between us was heavier than anything we said. I messed up, he began. I know I should have told you about the loan. I panicked. I stayed silent. She's pregnant, he added, as if that explained everything. Then he reached into his coat, pulled out a manila folder. I was wondering if you'd sign something. Nothing big. Just to help us negotiate with the lender. I held out my hand. Took the papers. Read them once. Then again. Not just consent. A partial power of attorney. It would give him limited control over the house. Access to financials. To my bank account. My retirement. I set the paper down. Stared at him. Get out, I said. He blinked. Mom. Out. He stood slowly. Tried one last line. We're going to lose the baby's future. I met his eyes. Dead calm. You already did. He left. Without a word. Like he had when he kicked me out. Only this time, He knew better than to say thank you. I stood there for a long time, hands shaking. Then I packed everything. Again. Asked the front desk to move me to a different floor. They didn't ask why. They knew. That night, I blocked his number. Not from anger, but because I had to protect myself. From the part of me that still wanted to believe he was my little boy. The one who once cried when I left for night shifts. The one who brought me daisies from the neighbor's yard. The one who used to say, "I love you, Mom. I love you the most." That boy was gone. This man? This man used my love like a credit line. And I'd finally closed the account. There's something eerie about knowing you started a fire, but watching it from a safe distance. No panic. No chaos. Just quiet certainty that the fuse you lit will find its mark. By the time Josh walked out of my motel room, after asking me to sign away control of everything I had left, I already knew what was coming. I knew the sheriff would tape a letter to their perfect little front door. Knew Megan would go into PR overdrive. Knew Josh would spiral. But I didn't know how fast it would all happen. The lockout was scheduled for Friday, 10 a.m. I didn't go. Didn't need to. Instead, I sat at the little table in my new room. Different floor, different view. Sipping instant coffee from a styrofoam cup. At 10:42 a.m., my phone buzzed. Voicemail. No caller ID. I waited a minute before playing it. Josh's voice, tight, shaking. "I don't know what you did, but we're out. Gone. You ruined us, Mom. I hope you're happy." That was it. No apology. No regret. Just blame. As if I had tripped a wire he set himself and dared to survive the explosion. At noon, Megan texted me. Longer this time. More effort. More venom. "If you wanted to hurt us, congrats. We're being evicted. I just hope you sleep well tonight. You've destroyed your family." Family. That word stuck in my chest like a splinter. As if they hadn't already torn it apart. As if I was the one who shattered it. When I was just the last one holding the pieces. I didn't answer. I didn't even look at the message again. Instead, I walked down the hall, bought a candy bar from the vending machine, and sat outside the building like I used to sit on our old porch. Except now the air felt lighter, like I could finally exhale. That evening, I opened my notebook. Wrote one line. They brought a match. I brought kerosene. Then turned the page, and made a list. Not of enemies. Not of debts. A list of names. Of people I no longer owed anything to. People I'd tiptoed around, catered to, silenced myself for. Josh's name was first. Then Megan. Then 3 others I won't say aloud. But if you've lived long enough, you have your own list too. By Sunday, Megan had gone full performance mode. 10-slide Instagram carousel. Cursive text on pastel backgrounds. Title, "When Family Betrays You." She painted a masterpiece of half-truths and guilt. Talked about welcoming a grieving parent with open arms. Financial abuse. And being blindsided by legal trickery. She called it elder abuse. Imagine that. The comments were brutal. This is why boundaries matter. People who can't let go of control always find a way to destroy you. "You're so strong, Megan." I scrolled. Didn't flinch. Until I saw Josh's comment. "You did everything right. You protected our future." She chose destruction. That one. That one I stared at. Not because it hurt, but because I could still hear the boy behind those words. The boy who once cried when he chipped a plate, now reduced me to a parable for strangers. I thought about responding. About posting the deed. The texts. The voicemail. But then I heard my father's voice in my head. "Don't wrestle pigs in the mud. They'll enjoy it, and you'll just get dirty." So I said nothing. Until the knock came. It was Tuesday morning. I was in pajamas. Halfway through a second cup of peppermint tea. The knock was soft. Uncertain. I checked the peephole. Megan. Messy bun. Tired eyes. Holding a bundled infant in a pink blanket. And a diaper bag slung over her shoulder like a prop. I cracked the door 2 inches. "Linda," she whispered. "I'm not here to fight. We don't know what to do anymore." I didn't say a word. She rocked the baby. Her name's Emily, she said. She's yours too. Don't shut us out. That hit harder than I expected. I hadn't even known the baby's name. Hadn't wanted to. I opened the door and let her in. She stepped inside like a guest. Not sure if she was welcome. Glanced around the room. Gave a tired smile. You still like it cold in here, huh? I said nothing. She sat down on the edge of the bed. Bounced Emily gently. We really screwed up, she said. I said things I didn't mean. We were scared. I nodded. Not because I forgave her, but because I wanted her to keep talking. Josh didn't come. Of course not. He's too proud, she said. But he's drowning. We both are. Our accounts are frozen. Our phones are on borrowed time. We're on a list now, Linda. A blacklist. No one will rent to us. Her voice broke on that last word. I almost believed it. Until I saw the tag. Still hanging from the diaper bag. Hush, baby. Designer. Retail, $895. I leaned closer. That's new, I said. She froze. It was a gift, she lied. From a friend. I stood up slowly. Walked to the window. Looked outside. A black SUV idled at the curb. New. Clean. Rental sticker still in the window. You came here to get something, I said. She blinked. I came to ask for help. No, I said. You came to film something. She stood too fast. What are you talking about? I pointed to the diaper bag. The side pocket. I saw it. A phone? Hidden camera. Her lips parted, then closed. We just wanted proof, she muttered. In case you twisted things. I stared at her for a full minute. Then stepped forward. Get out, I said. Linda. No. And take your prop with you. She didn't move. So I did. Closer. Angrier than I'd ever let her see. Let me be clear, Megan. I am not your storyline. I am not your villain. And I am sure as hell not your ATM. Get out of my room before I call the police. She picked up the baby slowly. Cradled her. Whispered, she's your granddaughter. No, I said. She's your child. Raise her better than you treat people. Megan left without another word. The SUV pulled away. And I stood in that room. Shaking. Not with fear. With adrenaline. Because I knew what they had just tried to do. That night, I went to the courthouse. Filed for a temporary restraining order. Brought everything. The texts. The documents. The photo of the designer diaper bag. The clerk barely blinked. You're not the first, she said. You won't be the last. The order came through 2 days later. Thick envelope. Court seal. I made 5 copies. 1 for the motel. 1 for the police. 1 for Doreen. 1 for myself. And 1 I mailed. Unsigned. To Josh and Megan's last known address. Inside was a sticky note. Just 5 words. You wanted legal. You got it. That night, I finally replied to the magazine that had emailed weeks ago. Charlotte Local. I didn't pitch a story. Didn't ask for money. Just sent the receipts. Deed copy. Wire transfer. Foreclosure confirmation. Screenshots. Photo of the designer bag. Subject line. Since they want to talk, let's talk. The editor called me the next morning. Sharp voice. Kind tone. We believe you, she said. Would you go on record? I said yes. On one condition. They had to print my line at the top of the story. This is not revenge. This is clarity. The story ran on Sunday morning. 3 pages. Printed in black ink and quiet rage. The title, When Help Becomes a Weapon. One mother's account of financial betrayal. My name was there. My words. My truth. Finally written in a font no one could twist. I didn't read the comments. Didn't check the shares. I just sat in the motel breakfast room. With cold coffee and a banana. Watching people pass by, unaware they now knew who I was. It didn't go viral. Didn't explode. But it rippled. The same neighborhood Facebook group where Megan sobbed online weeks earlier was now filled with debates. People talking about housing ethics, inheritance rights, adult children and their warped sense of entitlement. My name started showing up again. But this time, not as a villain. Not even as a victim. Just as a person. A woman who had been erased, and quietly wrote herself back in. But that wasn't the moment I knew the tide had turned. That came the following Friday. I had just walked to the local coffee shop, a habit I'd picked up in the motel. Same time every morning. Same seat by the window. Same cinnamon roll I never finished. That day, I walked in, turned the corner, and there he was. Josh. Hood pulled low, elbows on the table, staring into his coffee like it might explain what went wrong. He didn't see me at first. I froze. For a split second, I thought of turning around. But I didn't. I stepped closer. Our eyes met. No wave. No flinch. Just recognition. A shared silence between two people who used to mean everything to each other, and now didn't know what to say. I walked past him. Didn't stop. I didn't cry. Didn't smile. Just walked. That night, I got an email. No subject line. Just a short message. I read the article. I won't contact you again. I'm sorry you felt like you had no choice. Not. I'm sorry for what I did. Not. I was wrong. Just. I'm sorry you felt like. The kind of apology that throws the blame back at you. Like an emotional boomerang. I archived it. Didn't reply. He wasn't writing to make things right. He was writing to make himself feel less wrong. The next morning, the motel manager knocked gently. Handed me a stack of forwarded mail. At the bottom, an envelope with a real estate logo. Paper clipped to it. A note from Doreen. You've been approved. Keys are waiting. Inside, details of a 2-bedroom condo. 2nd floor unit. View of the water. In a quiet Wilmington complex for retirees and veterans. Rent, just under budget. Move-in date, next Friday. I stood there, holding that letter like it was a passport to the rest of my life. Later that evening, I updated my will. Removed Josh's name. No ceremony. No second-guessing. Everything would now be split between 3 places. A local shelter for domestic abuse survivors. A literacy nonprofit. And the animal rescue I used to volunteer for on Saturdays. I emailed my lawyer and wrote, if he ever challenges this, send them everything. Publicly. Didn't wait for a reply. I knew he'd handle it. Then it came. The final text. From Megan. New number. But I knew it was her. 4 words. We lost everything. Congrats. I stared at it. Once. Then deleted it. No reply. No reaction. No need. I spent the night packing. Not because I was running, but because I had finally stopped. The condo was smaller than I imagined, but brighter. Sunlight spilled across the floors like warm tea. I stood in the doorway for a full minute. Let the silence touch my skin. No shouting upstairs. No footsteps. No fake apologies. Just space. My space. The movers were late, so I dragged in the essentials myself. The red folder. Paul's photo. My suitcase. My notebook. I left the rest in the car. I made a cup of tea with the old kettle the unit came with. Then stepped onto the tiny balcony. Couldn't see the ocean, but I could hear it. That was enough. That first week, I didn't check social media. Didn't call anyone to explain. Didn't ask for permission to enjoy the quiet. I unpacked 1 drawer at a time. Filled the fridge with food I actually wanted. Watered the 2 plants I bought from a roadside stand on the way down. On Wednesday, I walked the boardwalk. No one recognized me. No one whispered. I passed a bookstore. A seafood shack. A woman painting seashells at a table. She looked up, smiled, and said, pick the one that calls to you. I chose a blue one with silver edges. She nodded. Good choice. That one's for people who've just let go of something heavy. I thanked her. Slipped it into my coat pocket. That night, I placed it by the door. Called it peace. By the end of week 2, I had a routine. Coffee at 8. Walk at 10. Journal at 3. Signed up for a community art class on Tuesdays and Thursdays. The instructor's name was Walter. 70. Wore suspenders. Told terrible jokes. Remembered my name on the 2nd day. One afternoon, he looked at my canvas and said, you paint like someone who survived something. I smiled. That's because I have. I didn't talk about Josh. Not to Walter. Not to the others. The past was sealed. A drawer that no longer opened. Until the letter came. It was handwritten. Josh's messy script. Postmarked from a P.O. box outside Charlotte. No return address. Inside. I know I can't undo what I did. I don't expect anything from you. I just want you to know I'm trying. I named her Emily Linda Carter. I read it twice. Folded it carefully. Placed it in the drawer beside the now void deed. Didn't cry. Didn't smile. Just let the words sit. That evening, I walked to the beach. Took off my shoes. Stood barefoot in the sand. Listened to the waves for over an hour. I thought about the girl named after me. About the man who used to be my son. About the boy who once picked dandelions for me and called them flowers. He was gone. But maybe, just maybe, someone better was being born from what he destroyed. And that, I realized, wasn't my burden anymore. I turned around. Walked home. The lights in the condo glowed soft and golden. I curled up on the couch. Book in hand. Tea on the table. Heart not quite healed, but no longer breaking. The phone buzzed once more. Unknown number. No message. I let it fade. Then whispered the 5 words I'd carried since the day they pushed me out. No space here either. Goodbye. It started with a bouquet. White lilies. The kind Josh used to bring home from the grocery store when he was 17. As an apology for denting the car or flunking a quiz. They were sitting outside my condo door. In a cheap glass vase. With a note. Let's talk. Please. No name. I didn't touch them. Didn't bring them in. I left them outside overnight. By morning, they had already started to wilt. The front desk clerk asked me if I wanted them tossed. I said yes. That afternoon, Josh showed up. No text. No warning. Just there. Knocked on the door around 2 p.m. Like nothing had happened. Like we hadn't burned down a bridge and salted the ground beneath it. Mom, he said. It's me. I looked through the peephole. He looked pale. Tired. Like someone who hadn't been sleeping. Just like me. Against my better judgment. I cracked the door open. 5 minutes, I said. He nodded. The same way he used to when I offered a second chance after grounding him. We sat at the little round table by the window. Opposite ends. Too far to touch. Too far to trust. He looked around the condo like he was searching for something. Maybe forgiveness. Maybe a weak spot. Mom, he started. I messed up. I know I should have told you about the loan. I shouldn't have let Megan talk to you like that. I panicked. I said nothing. Just waited. She's pregnant, he added. Like that somehow explained everything. I looked at him. Really looked. And for a split second, I saw the boy who used to cry when I left for night shifts. But he wasn't that boy anymore. He was a man who had kicked me out of my own house, painted me as a villain online, and was now trying to rewrite the ending. I didn't come to argue, he said. I was wondering if you'd be willing to sign a document. Nothing big. Just something to help us negotiate with the lender. Get back on track. That was the moment. My gut screamed. He hadn't changed. Not really. He hadn't come for peace. He came. Because he still thought I was a lever he could pull when things got desperate. Show me, I said. He hesitated. Then reached into his coat pocket. Pulled out a manila folder. Handed me the paper. I read it once. Then again. It wasn't just a consent form. It was a partial power of attorney. Disguised in legal jargon. It would have given him access to manage the foreclosure proceedings. Which meant bank accounts. Which meant my retirement. I set the paper down. Very slowly. Very carefully. Then I looked him dead in the eye. Get out, I said. He blinked. Mom. Out. He stood. Still thinking he could salvage it. We're going to lose the baby's future, Mom. I didn't flinch. You already did. He left. Quiet this time. Not because he respected me, but because he had run out of scripts. I locked the door. Stood there for a long time. Hands shaking. Then I walked to the phone. Called the front desk. Can I be moved to a different room? I asked. Different floor. Different hallway. They didn't ask why. They just said, we'll make it happen. I packed in 15 minutes. Moved down to 3B. Same view. Different air. That night, I blocked his number. Again. Not because I hated him, but because I had to protect myself from the part of me that still wanted to believe him. Still wanted to believe he was sorry. That he had come to make peace. Not take more. The next morning, I walked to the housing board office. Doreen was at her desk. She looked up, smiled like she'd been expecting me. I want to move on, I said. Not just from them. From all of it. She didn't say, I'm proud of you. Didn't say, you're doing the right thing. She just slid a folder across the desk. It said, Senior Housing, Coastal Options. The first page was a 2-bedroom condo in a quiet retirement complex. Ocean access. Community garden. Rent I could afford with my pension. I circled it. This one, I said. That evening, I received one last email. This time from Megan. No emojis. No hashtags. Just words. I don't know what we're supposed to do now. We have nothing. I know you hate me. But think of the baby. I stared at the screen. Felt the heat of those words press against my ribs. But I didn't reply. Not yet. Because what I was planning next wasn't a response. It was a reckoning. 3 days passed. Silence. Then, a knock. I was in pajama pants. Halfway through my tea. I checked the peephole. Megan. Again. Hair messier than usual. Eyes red. Holding the baby. Now a few weeks old. Bundled in a soft pink blanket. The same diaper bag slung over her shoulder. The same tired expression. Linda, she called softly. I'm not here to fight. We don't know what to do anymore. Josh is falling apart. We got kicked out of the rental we found. They said we failed a credit check. Please. Can I come in? I cracked the door. Her makeup was smudged. The baby Emily stirred slightly. Let out a soft squeak. She's yours too, Megan whispered. Don't shut us out. That line again. That twist of guilt. Wrapped in faux vulnerability. I let her in. Because I needed to see what version of the truth she brought this time. She stepped inside slowly. Glanced around. Gave a tired smile. You still like it cold in here, huh? She sat on the edge of the bed. Bounced Emily gently. We really screwed up, she said. I said things I didn't mean. We were stressed. Scared. I nodded. Not because I agreed. But because I wanted her to keep going. Josh is too proud to admit it, she continued. But he's drowning. We both are. She started listing the debts. The frozen accounts. The cars they no longer owned. But then, I noticed it. The tag. Still on the diaper bag. Brand new. Still $895. I leaned forward. That's new, I said. She flinched. It was a gift. From a friend. I said nothing. Just stood. Walked to the window. And saw it. A rental car. Black. Idling near the curb. Not broken down. Not desperate. You didn't come here for help, I thought. You came here. To capture something. You're recording this, I said. She froze. What are you talking about? I pointed at the side pocket of the bag. Where is it? Your phone? Your purse? Whatever it is, get it out. Her lips parted. Then closed. We just wanted our proof. In case you twisted things. I stared at her. Long and hard. Get out, I said. She didn't move. So I stepped forward. Let me be clear, Megan. I am not your storyline. I am not your villain. And I am sure as hell not your ATM. I pointed to the door. Get out of my room before I call the police. She picked up Emily slowly. Clutched her close. She's your granddaughter. No, I said. She's your child. Raise her better than you treat people. She stepped out. Back stiff. Got into the car. And drove away. I stood there for a long time. Hands shaking. But it wasn't fear. It was adrenaline. Because I knew what had just happened. She'd come to bait me. Into anger. Into cruelty. Into something they could edit into sympathy clicks. And I hadn't given it to her. The next day, I filed for a restraining order. Included everything. The texts. The visit. The diaper bag. The clerk didn't blink. "You're not the first," she said. "You won't be the last." That night, I returned to my room, opened my notebook, and wrote one line. They brought a baby to play victim. I brought receipts. Then, I turned the page and started listing names. Not for revenge. For preparation. Because next time they came for me, I'd be ready. The restraining order came through 2 days later. A thick envelope slid under my condo door like a quiet victory. No sirens. No applause. Just paperwork and a signature that said, "You can't touch me anymore." I didn't feel triumphant. I felt prepared. The kind of calm you get before a storm. Not because you fear it, but because you've already boarded the windows. I made 5 copies. One for the condo office. One for the local police. One for Doreen. One for me. And one I mailed and signed. To Megan and Josh's last known address. Inside, a sticky note. "You wanted legal. You got it." That night, I finally responded to Charlotte Local magazine. No pitch. No edits. No filter. I sent them everything. The deed. The wire transfer. The texts. The foreclosure confirmation. The screenshots. The designer diaper bag. I attached one sentence at the top. "Since they want to talk, let's talk." The editor called the next morning. Her voice was sharp, but steady. "We believe you," she said. "Will you go on record?" I said yes. As long as they included my line. The one I had been repeating in my head since this all began. This isn't revenge. This is clarity. The article ran the following Sunday. It didn't go viral. Didn't break the internet. But it didn't have to. It spread where it needed to. In whispers. In shared screenshots. In quiet reposts from women who had mothers of their own, or who feared becoming one. The same Facebook group where Megan had wept online weeks ago. Now buzzed with quiet reckoning. People remembered what they'd said. They remembered what they'd assumed. And they asked each other, how well do we really know the people we defend? My name came up. Not as a warning. Not as a witch. But as a woman. A woman who had been quiet for too long. But that wasn't the moment I knew I'd won. That came a few days later. When I walked into the coffee shop. And saw Josh. Again. Same hoodie. Same corner table. Same blank stare into a cup of cold foam. This time, he saw me first. Our eyes met. He didn't wave. Didn't blink. Didn't move. Just looked. And in that look, I saw it. Not guilt. Not regret. Not even love. Just distance. The hollow space between two people who once shared everything, and now couldn't share a glance. I walked out. Didn't look back. That night, he emailed me. No subject. No greeting. Just a few lines. I read the article. I won't contact you again. I'm sorry you felt like you had no choice. That was all. Not. I'm sorry I hurt you. Not. I see it now. Just. Sorry you felt. I archived it. Didn't reply. The next morning, the condo manager knocked on my door. A stack of forwarded mail in hand. At the bottom, an envelope from the housing board. A note from Doreen clipped on top. You've been approved. Keys are waiting. I opened it slowly. Inside, details for a 2-bedroom unit. 2nd floor. Ocean-facing balcony. Community reading room. Rent. Affordable. Move in next Friday. I held the paper for a long time. Then folded it. Slid it into my desk. And smiled. Just a little. Not because it fixed anything. But because it meant one thing. I could finally move forward. Later that evening, I updated my will. Removed Josh entirely. Not out of hate, but out of peace. I reallocated everything. My pension. The condo. The savings I'd started rebuilding. All of it would now go to a women's shelter. A literacy foundation. An animal rescue. Places where broken things go. To be mended. Then I sent a final email to my lawyer. If he ever contests this, I wrote, send everything. Publicly. No silence. Not this time. That weekend. One last message came in. New number. But I knew the voice behind it. Megan. Just 4 words. We lost everything. Congrats. I read it once. Then deleted it. No reply. No pause. No ache. Just a quiet exhale. Then I packed. Not in a rush. Not with grief. But with the grace of someone who finally understood. I was never meant to beg for space. The new condo was small. Bright. Clean. No ghosts in the corners. No footsteps overhead. No thermostat I had to explain. Just me. And silence. The good kind. I set down my essentials first. The red folder. Paul's photo. My notebook. A bag of tea. And that seashell the woman had given me. Peace. I walked to the balcony. Stood for a full minute. Couldn't see the water. But I could hear it. Whispering like an old friend. I made a cup of tea. Sat on the couch. Turned on soft music. Didn't check my phone. Didn't post. Didn't look for messages. I just existed. In my own space. On my own terms. Without permission. That week, I fell into a rhythm. Tuesdays and Thursdays, art class. Walter still told the worst jokes. Still remembered my name. He came by my easel one afternoon. Looked at a painting I'd been working on. A lighthouse. Not perfect. Not realistic. But strong. Centered. You paint like someone who knows where they are now, he said. I nodded. Because I did. The past? Still there. Still sharp in places. But no longer bleeding. Just a story. A warning. A lesson I survived. Then, the final letter came. Handwritten. Josh's scrawl. Postmarked again from a P.O. box. Inside. I know I can't undo what I did. I don't expect anything. I just wanted you to know. I named her Emily Linda Carter. I didn't cry. Didn't smile. I just read it twice. Then folded it. Placed it beside the seashell. Not because I forgave him. But because I didn't need to carry the weight anymore. That evening, I walked to the water. Barefoot. Slow. Listened to the tide roll in. Watched a couple chase their golden retriever through the foam. Smiled at a little girl digging a castle in the sand. I thought of the baby named after me. The man who used to be my son. The woman who used to call me mom and mean it. They were gone. Or maybe, still out there lost. But either way, not mine to rescue anymore. I turned around. Walked home. The lights in my condo glowed golden. Soft. Real. No drama. No performance. No chaos. Just the sound of someone choosing peace. Over permission. My phone buzzed once. Unknown number. No message. I didn't answer. Didn't need to. Because I already knew what I would say. If I ever picked it up again. The same 5 words I've carried with me since the day they pushed me out. No space here either. Goodbye. If this story touched something in you, please consider subscribing. It helps me keep sharing stories that matter. And I'd really love to get to know you better. Tell me in the comments. Where are you watching from? How old are you? And what part of this story stayed with you the most? Did it move you? Did it feel familiar? I read every message. And your voice means everything here. Thank you for listening. And for being here.